Digital agency. Digital agency is a nightmare.
Most home service owners think that their biggest problem is marketing.
Anyone that owns a digital agency, when I see these people say, I don't lose clients, I don't lose people, they're liars.
He believes the real problem is what happens after the lead comes in.
No one ever blames themselves as a business owner.
Clients blame everyone else, and recurring revenue comes with constant pressure.
Private equity firms don't look the reasons to buy your company, or look the reasons not to buy your company.
This is AI and Marketing for Home Service Pros, the show for contractors who want to grow without wasting time or money. If you're in roofing, HVAC, plumbing, or any home service business, we break down how AI and modern marketing can help you book more jobs, close more leads, and build a business that runs without babysitting every task.
Most home service owners think that their biggest problem is marketing. Lance Bachmann thinks that's wrong. He believes the real problem is what happens after the lead comes in. My guest today is Lance Bachmann, founder of the digital agency One SEO, which he scaled and sold, and now the managing partner at LBachmann Capital, where he helps scale and exit home service companies. Lance has been on both sides of the table. He's running a large digital agency where churn is brutal, clients blame everyone else, and recurring revenue comes with constant pressure. And he's built and scaled home service businesses where every day starts at zero, operations matter more than opinions, and execution decides everything. In this episode, we get very real about why running a digital agency is actually harder than running a home service company, what's actually working right now for lead generation in HVAC, roofing, plumbing, and the trades, why Google is still the 800-pound gorilla, and why most owners misuse it, how lead aggregators really work, and why the best companies use them, why automation and speed to lead matter more than budget, how Lance's companies are using AI today, not hypothetically, but in production, why CRMs like ServiceTitan only work if you actually use them correctly, and what build it to sell it really means when you're making day-to-day decisions. This isn't a motivational conversation. It's a system conversation. If you want to grow, scale, and eventually have real options, whether that's selling, partnering, or just running a stronger business, this episode will challenge how you think about marketing, operations, and leadership. Let's get into it. What's up, guys? This is Mauricio Cardona. I'm the host today of the AI and Marketing show for home services, and I'm super excited to have Lance Bachmann with me. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you. Thank you very much for having me, my friend.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I actually went to your conference last year, built it to sell it. It was fantastic. And I met a lot of great people. I thought it was a great show, a lot of great insights into really building and scaling the business. And I'm really excited about what we're going to talk about today. I think a lot of home service companies, a lot of owners really need to hear the information that you have, because I think it's very valuable. Let's get started. So you built and sold a digital agency and now invest in home service companies. How did that transition change the way you look at businesses?
I think the transition, I had access to so much data and information from all the home service companies I did for 20 years of marketing to them. And, I just saw a lot of problems that people didn't want to hear, right? Like, people always think it's the marketing agency, right? But their CSRs aren't answering the phone. They're not responding to leads. They're not getting back to people. Their salespeople aren't closing jobs. They're not following up. Like, all these things that you just see are simple in business that, it all starts from the sales channel and works itself down. So I think the transformation was pretty easy for me. I love home services. I love HVAC, roofing, painting, electrical, fencing. I think they're all great industries. But, we'll stay in home services. I still own technology companies. And I'm sure eventually I'll be back into the marketing business in some way, shape, or form.
How did exiting and running One SEO, which is a pretty large agency, teach you that most founders don't know until it's too late?
Oh, they don't pay attention. I mean, the majority of business owners, only pay attention when things get really, really bad. When things are good, they don't keep tweaking the dials. They don't keep making things better. And they always want to say, well, I got a marketing company that handles that. I have a marketing company that handles that. No, you got to handle your marketing. You got to understand your KPIs, and you got to understand all the KPIs from your business. And if you don't understand them, you're going to be left in the dark sooner or later.
Yeah. You obviously you work with home service companies and you've run a digital agency. I'm going to ask you, because I'm curious about this myself. Like, they're both obviously challenging. Which is harder? Which is more difficult to run in terms of
Digital agency. Digital agency is a nightmare. Anyone that owns a digital agency, when I see these people say, I don't lose clients, I don't lose people, they're liars. Everyone does. Listen, the thing about the digital marketing space is like coaching. Like, people always are looking for the magic pill. And, it's funny. I said this last night. It was Super Bowl at my house, right? And somebody was talking about doing this and this and this and changing what we do. And I don't really like to I like to improve, not change. But people always look for magic pills. I said, listen, when our kids aren't placing at states, when our kids aren't placing at qualifiers, they tell me about the coaching and what needs to change. But for the last 7 years, this group of kids have done very well, and they keep developing and growing and getting better, right? Business is the same exact thing. You want to develop, grow, and get better. But most business owners, they want immediate, and they're not willing to go through the process of getting better, right? But that was a true conversation I had at my table last night with a bunch of parents. They come to me, right? And business owners don't want to hear that because then they fire you, right? The agencies are way harder. You could be crushing it for someone and they're not doing things internally right, so they fire you. No one ever blames themselves as a business owner. They always blame everyone else, and that's the biggest problem. I think the agency work is a lot harder. They're more profitable because it's recurring revenue. So I have a baseline of recurring cash. Unlike home services, every day is a new day, and you got to generate revenue. And every day, first of the month, is the first day that month where you have to generate revenue. Where when you own an agency and you have recurring revenue, and let's just say you're doing $20 million a year or $24 million in recurring revenue, that's $2 million annually a month that you're going to run on the first. Well, you know your payroll's covered out of that, some money to use covered out of that. In home services, it's the opposite. You got to sell every day, and you have a budget you need to hit just to break even. Then you start working up the metrics to make money.
Yeah, that's so you have it's once it's actually a scale. I guess once you scale the agency, I guess it's easier to maintain, but it's hard to scale.
No,
I guess.
because you got to, once you build an agency, I tell people this all the time, you now become like, put it this way, right? Like agency like Rhino, the size of that, right? They're not an agency anymore. They're a sales organization. They have to constantly be selling to outpace their churn. They're going to have churn, right? And that's just a fact. I would say to Rhino, I'd say to Camp Digital, I would say to anyone. These guys are my friends. When SEO, you have churn. You just, like, it's natural. Like, people don't want to talk about that. Like, there's churn, right? And so that churn, when you get bigger, you have to replace that churn. So it becomes, hey, listen, we're going to be product focused, but more than product focused, I got to become a sales focused. When you're a small agency and you're a white glove service like higher caliber, they'll probably have half the churn, so they don't have to be as much as a sales organization, but they're also not making as much revenue as the bigger companies. Make sense?
Yeah, you have to outsell your churn at that rate. So it's like if you have like 1,000 clients, like right now, I mean, you're even if at 2% or 5% churn, you're losing 50 accounts a month, which is a lot.
I'd be willing to bet you it's more than 5% churn throughout the year. Like, that's for every agency. Like, I know the churn numbers. I'm very realistic with people about agencies, and that's why I tell people all the time. I believe agencies that get fired, it's literally probably maybe 30% their fault when they get fired. The other 70% is normally the business owner has no clue what's happening, and the agency's just taking a dirt nap for it.
Wow. So you say that that's that high, so it's only 30% the fault.
Because most agencies like Rhino, Camp, Higher Caliber, they're great agencies. Like, I can't say a bad word about them. They have a good product. They do good work, you know. There's a lot of good agencies out there. It's normally the business owners that don't know what the results are and what's happening.
So let's talk about that. I want to know more about that. So what do you think home service owners, right, need to do on their end to build a successful partnership with another agency? What do they need to do on their end to be successful?
Well, that's the whole thing. You used the key word that I say to everybody, relationship. You got to have a relationship. So I'll give you a perfect example, right? My financial advisor, I've been using for like 3 years now, right? And I like the guy a lot. I think he's a really nice guy. But my wife's money was supposed to be transferred to her for this year on Friday, right? And I was coming home from Florida from speaking, and I just asked my wife, did the money hit? And she said, no. It's like 3 o'clock. I shoot off an email, and I said, yeah, my wife's money didn't hit. It doesn't take 4 days or 3 days to get money to my wife. The woman responds back with a BS. Instead of just saying, hey, listen, I'm sorry, we dropped the ball, I'll get it to you right away, right? Like, just as simple as that. It was a bullshit answer. And I immediately, at 4:45 when I was home, I just called him up and said, listen, this is why people don't trust you. We have a very good relationship, me and you. But your employee, instead of just saying, hey, I'm sorry, we dropped the ball, right? Came up with I'm better than you, and wrote this high-level email talking in circles. And what happens is you lose trust. most agencies, when business owners are upset, will do the same exact thing. They'll say, "Hey, well, your traffic's up, and or your this is up." Instead of saying to the business owner, "Hey, what's the problem? What's going on? Let's set up a meeting and really dig into the issue. All right, let's start listening to phone calls. Are people answering the phone calls? Okay, are they great? Hey, how do they sound on those phone calls? Great. Hey, are phone calls and leads up compared to this time last year? Great. What's your sales close ratio right now? What's your close rate at? Well, if your close rate and average ticket is down from last year, but your leads are up, is it a leads problem or is it your salespeople's problem? Right? So the relationship is so important. And most digital agencies don't want to get down into that person's business, and they're afraid to ask those questions. At my age, I'll be the best digital agency owner ever again because I don't care. I'm going to ask those questions. My team's going to ask those questions. You're going to give us that information, or you just won't be our client. Make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, it's just that simple. Because without that information, I can't help you. But I'm also 52 years old. I sold 6 companies now. I'm in a different spot. When I started out, I couldn't have had that same attitude, that same command of a room. Well, now I know without that command of the room, it's a never-ending prophecy of failure getting repeated, because without that information, I can't help you as a business owner, and I don't want to not help you. So this is what it takes to win. Do you want to win with me or don't?
Yeah. Is it just having that real conversation, right? It kind of being more like a consultant, right? Consultant, coaching, trying to understand what their
That's what it
goals
is.
are. Yeah. And helping them understand that pain point. That's very cool. I mean, what what is working today in terms of lead generation? Like, obviously you have a lot of experience. You see the inside of these home service companies, and you have a experience working across the country. What is working best right now for local lead gen for these companies? Is it Google? Talk about that. What is working best for these companies?
I mean, Google's the 800-pound gorilla. It's always going to be Google, Home Advisors, Angie's, Yelp. The aggregators are good, right? Networks. Then you have Google PPC, you have remarketing, you have social media, email marketing. I think it takes a whole holistic side, LSAs. I think it's a whole holistic. And then you have to have automation from that, right? Speed the lead. What does my AI look like? What's my automation look like? Am I using tools like same-day AI? Am I using Service Titan? Am I using these tools? And most people aren't. So, it's funny. I'll meet people and I'll say, "Hey, man, what's your automation look like?" And I have no automation. Well, you're spending $10,000 a month and you didn't spend somebody $10,000 to set up all your automation? No. Okay, well, you're the problem.
Yeah. So if you have a home service company like spending 10,000 on ads, and they're not doing anything with automation, you tell them, "Hey, that's completely wrong. You need to stop right now."
I don't care if you're spending 5,000. I don't care if you're spending nothing on ads. Why would you not set up automation? Everything should be automated. Automated. When someone contacts me, they get a response. Someone contacts me, they should be able to book their own appointment. Someone contacts me, I'm reaching right back out with an auto dialer. I have a conversation with them. Someone calls in. If I don't have a CSR, I have now something like same-day AI that can actually book the job for you right on the spot. Like, you have to use technology to scale your business.
Yeah. And let's talk about technology. Like, you obviously, when at the conference, you were a big fan of Service Titan. Talk about how you use that tech stack to actually set up your home service company. And how big of an impact does it make?
I think Service Titan is one of the best platforms out there. I'm very good friends with their CEO, Aura. He's been very good to me. I helped them get on the roofing. Listen, like everything else, it's only as good as you use it. But I managed to sell multiple companies now that are on Service Titan and make money, right? And all I do is manage from the KPIs that Service Titan gives us, and I manage that every single day. So for me, I haven't had any success with any other CRMs, so I am pro Service Titan. I'm a Service Titan fan. I love Service Titan. I think it's the best product out there. I think if you're doing roofing, HVAC, electrical, plumbing, garage doors, you should be on Service Titan.
Got it. And what kind of KPIs do you look for when you're setting it up? Like, what are the
It's
most
real
common
simple.
KPIs?
How many leads came in? What percentage of book calls we have from those leads? What's my average appointment rate? Meaning I actually show up. They don't cancel for the book leads. What's my close rate? What's my average sales ticket? That's going to give me the reverse engineer for what we're going to budget out for the year. And then I want to know if I got 30 salespeople and I need 2 appointments a day, do we have 60 leads on the board that day for our 30 people? If not, we have to increase our leads and marketing and get it where we have average at least 2 sales appointments a day for our salespeople.
And you said earlier that you obviously use a holistic approach, right? So you use many different channels. Talk about like lead aggregators, right? Because a lot of people, obviously, here in the space, have a negative opinion about them. But I found the opposite. Talk about that. Like, what's your experience with these lead aggregators and how typical companies can benefit?
The reason why people don't like lead aggregators is because they want to say it's shitty leads, it's shitty leads, it's shitty leads. Okay. I'll argue and say, did the person call you up and ask you for a roof, or did they ask you for a pizza? Well, they asked me for a roof. Okay. So they didn't ask you for a pizza. Nope. So we both agree now they called you for what you did. Yes. But they also called 5 other people in the price shoppers. Oh, okay. So now what you're telling me is you don't want to earn someone's business. You don't want to show value. You don't want to build a relationship. You don't want to show it separates yourself from your competition. You just think you work at Dairy Queen and hand out blizzards and everybody's walking out happy, right? And on top of that, you have no automation set up for speed to lead to get your salesperson there for this person's problem as fast as possible, same day or within 24 hours. So, no, the aggregators work, and if you look at every major company out there that's doing well, the majority of them use the aggregators now.
Yeah. So if a company wants to scale, right? This is my experience working with a lot of these guys. The bigger home service companies, they all use lead aggregators. They're all using them, right? And that's just one channel or multiple channels they use. They use all of them. They use Angie's List, Home Advisor,
Thumbtack,
networks. They use all of them, and that's just one channel they use. And they obviously do traditional marketing. My experience is that these guys are really these guys. In the lead aggregators, they're kind of used to just spending money and trying to get leads instead of actually learning how the actual process works. That's like the thing.
100%. That's 100%.
Yeah. And it's like it gives you like a false sense of confidence using lead aggregators because you get instant results without actually understanding how it works. And that's kind of the big thing that these guys don't realize is that aspect of it.
I don't think they understand the process of booking a call, getting someone out right away. Like, you call some places up, like, yeah, you have someone there in 3 days. Who's waiting 3 days for an HVAC problem?
Yeah. Have you thought about like when I'm curious about your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on having pricing on the website for different home service companies? Like if you're a roofer, if you're HVAC company, plumber, like what are your thoughts on the whole because what are your thoughts on that?
I'm not for it. I'm not against it. I'm about transparency. But can you really do it until you actually see the problem? There's so many things that go into it. And the worst thing you do is put pricing out there. And then you show up to someone's home and say, hey, it's $5,000 more, and here's why. Well, now I just got an uphill battle.
Got it. So you rather have just the lead come in and then your salespeople kind of take a more consultative approach to understanding what the actual pain points are?
Yeah. You want to know the pain points? Does a doctor tell you what's wrong with you without seeing your blood work?
Yeah, but do you guys use like estimators on your guys' websites, on your clients' websites,
We do, but they're not even real because they give you such a broad range.
Understood. Okay, that's interesting. I like those thoughts because like you hear a lot with people like Marcus Sheridan and other guys advocating for understanding the pricing and all that stuff. But I hear other people say that it's different, like depending on that. And you're trying to capture the traffic, right? Trying to capture the traffic that you're.
How many roofing companies does Marcus Sheridan own?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think
any.
Yeah.
So like, it's like a doctor, you telling a doctor how to do a procedure, but you've never been a doctor. Like, it's easy to go up on stage and talk shit. It's hard to go implement and do.
Yeah. So you see it from the inside. You say, hey, don't do it. Just have a consultative approach. Get the lead, and then have your call center just follow up.
I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying if you do it, you better make sure it's as accurate as possible, because the worst thing you do is set your salespeople to go out and have to deal with an online estimate that is off by 25, 30, 40%. It's an uphill battle after that.
Yeah. Let's talk about like paid ads, right? Obviously, you're a big proponent of paid ads. What are the most common things that a lot of home service companies are not doing in terms of paid ads?
I'm not a big fan of pay-per-click. I think the majority of pay-per-click campaigns, I'd be willing to bet you the stat before when I was in the space was 86% of all pay-per-click revenue was wasted. There was no return on investment. I'd be willing to bet you it's the same exact today.
Yeah, I've had the same experience. Pay-per-click my experience hasn't been where I was before. I mean, before it was great. You can get really good leads, but I don't think it's the same as before. So you probably like more focus on LSA, Google Local Service Ads, like for paid ads.
Absolutely. Pay-per-click ads are the last thing we actually do when we partner with a company.
Got it. So you like if I'm partnering with a company with a home service company, the main thing you do that, okay, I'm gonna look at their website, their SEO. What are how do you look at like, okay, I'm trying to scale this business for next year. They're doing 10 million.
We're going to look at aggregators. We're going to look at SEO. We're going to look at social media, email marketing, your database. We're going to implement our tech stack right into our business, our CSRs, train our CSRs to book jobs, make things speed to lead as fast as possible, and then obviously sell and closing in-home sales experience.
Yeah. Awesome. That's great. And then in terms of branding, like what do you, my feedback with branding is that it's become more important with AI, right? AI has become, it's easy to create content now. It's very easy to create content. People are just creating content over and over. There's a lot of AI slop out there, but it's harder to stand out, right? So if you have a good brand, it's much easier to actually lower cost per lead. What are the benefits? Like talk about how do you create a brand and how do you look at that for a home service company?
I think branding is important. I think your logo is important. Your messaging is important. Your website's important. You're wearing polos every day with your brand on it. Having yard signs important. Wrap trucks, hats. Your brand should stand out wherever you're at, right? And if it doesn't, that's on you, right? So for me, I'm a big believer. Your brand is you, and you better make your brand stand out. No different than every guy I ever met wanted to be a 6'3", blonde hair, blue eye, built man because he's going to stand out in a room, right? Just that simple, right? So life's real simple. Be that guy. Be that guy. You have to be a brand. You have to stand out. You got to make your mark, separate yourself from everyone else.
Yeah, and if you actually change like the name, or do you actually come up with different names, or you just
We do sometimes, and sometimes we keep the name.
you keep the name?
Sometimes we keep it, sometimes we don't.
Got it. And then different home services. Obviously, you work with different ones. Is there like a lot of difference between a roofing and HVAC company?
No.
What are some of the differences? No.
Nah, they're all the same. Listen, there's no difference between your business, my businesses. Every business is ran like this. Doesn't matter what it is. There's not a business that separates different than this. I get attention, I get a lead, either outbound or inbound, meaning I have someone come to me or I have salespeople going out, right? You have to get a lead, right? Once I have the lead, I got to book the appointment. Once I'm in the appointment, I make a sale or I don't make a sale. If I don't make a sale, we go into the follow-up bucket, whether it be automation, however you want to do it. If I make the sale, I close the sale, I either collect money at the time of sale, but I'm definitely signing a contract, or I collect money after the sale, right? So now I close it. Then it has to go into the production status, no matter what that production looks like. In whom sales mean it might be roofing, HVAC, whatever it is. We actually got to physically do the work. Or if I make a sale buying an Apple phone, I'd call it into the delivery process of where you actually get your phone, right? So now that process happens. And then I pay in full. Am I happy or not? And then the circle of life just keeps happening. That's every business is the same. There is no difference. Name one business that doesn't work that way. Whether you go out to eat, it's the same thing. Doesn't make a difference.
And you all that through ServiceTitan, right? Through the entire system through ServiceTitan. And then basically you have a referral. Do you actually referrals after that? Like you ask for after the job is complete, you have a system for?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Mr. Customer, did you have a 5-star experience here? Yeah. I'd love to provide some of your friends and families a 5-star experience. Can I get 3 referrals?
Yeah. Well, I want to talk about AI and how are your portfolio companies using AI today? Like, what are the practical ways they're using it?
We use it to answer our phones. We use it for automation. I mean, we use same-day AI. We use Chirp. We use Hatch. We use Hatch. Rilla. We're constantly using AI. We have chat. I mean, even though people say ChatGPT is not AI, it's a spinoff, right? So we use that for a lot of things. We use high-level, all build-out automation. So, everything we do is automated, AI built.
Got it. I haven't heard of Same Day AI. Is that one of your companies or?
No, it's not one of my companies. It's just a company we use for our home service companies.
Is that like just a speed to lead type of business?
Yes, and answering like CSRs, answering and booking calls for us. So you think you're talking to a live operator, you're actually talking to an agent.
Yeah. And do you have it set up where it's for the operators? Is it human? and AI, or just
Yes, we have human and AI.
okay, okay. And is it human during the business hours and then AI after like non-business hours, where you can answer
We
the
have AI pickup, but we get an overload also. You always want AI to pick up if you're overloaded.
okay. And how what kind of impact has that had on these brands that you work with?
All of our businesses are growing.
Got it, got it. Well, we'll talk about like the first company that you did. I heard you on the stage, like one of the first companies you did for like 5 years. I think it was an HVAC company. Like what made you get into the space when you're already running a successful agency? Like what made you get into that? Hey, I'm already doing successfully. Why should I get into home service and actually run it myself?
So what happens in life is this is what people don't understand. You work your whole life and you're going to work many different jobs and do different things, but you only have one reputation. And I say that to people. You only have one reputation. You have multiple jobs that you're going to do. And my reputation, I'm very fortunate in this space, is one that people know. In all spaces, I'm a winner. I work hard. I'm honest. I'm reliable. And we're going to grow a company. And people ask me all the time, when I was starting out, everyone bet against me, didn't really support me, kind of watched. And then once I started making it, everyone started like rooting against me. Some didn't, and some cheered for me. And then what happens is people start asking you to partner. And I get people to ask me to partner all the time, and you have to go through the vetting process because I'm a big believer in partnerships. They all don't work out, but they don't have to be ugly. Like people are like, oh, it has to be ugly when you break up. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I only had one person, and he wasn't even a partner of mine. We wound up selling his one company, and he sued me for $300,000. I didn't pay him because I didn't owe him the money, and he wound up not getting paid by me, right? And all the other ones, that don't work out because of just personality, whatever it may be. Because not all these business, when you partner with people don't understand is not everybody wants to end the same goal. Michael Golich did, though, down in North Carolina. They were doing $2 million. We took it 12 to 18 million, and we sold to Apex. Great journey, great outcome. And he asked me to be his partner, and I did. And I think what people don't realize is I've only had one business in my whole career not make it besides restaurants. Every one of my other businesses have always grown, and they've grown. Even the ones where we stopped being partners with people, they've grown, and they became profitable. And I think people don't understand is your partnerships are not going to last forever because it's just not. Like if your marriage doesn't last forever, whatever that percentage is, what percentage of people get divorced down there? You're like 60%, 70?
50.
So it's over 50%. And no one, I don't care who you are, you should probably love your wife. I know I love my wife more than business, right? And she gave me my kids. So if we ever did get divorced, it'd be really hard. So if people can get divorced, breaking up a business partnership should be easy, in my opinion. If it's just not working out, you sit down, you sit at the table, and you just make it work out. So I've only had two where we said, okay, we're not going to be partners anymore. And we had it figured out in less than 10 minutes both times, and I'm friends with both the guys.
Yeah. And when you sold that business, they asked you to come in as a partner, or you like?
They asked me. Everybody asked me. I don't ask anyone because I'm not being rude. Like I got enough on my plate.
Got it. And I say I'll do it if this and this, if XYZ reason happens, right? You give them like, hey, this is like that's gonna happen.
The only reason you partner with me is to scale your company and sell it to a private equity firm. If you want any other outcome, don't call me. Like, I'm not transparent about it. Like that's the goal. That's the mission. We're going to scale your company. We're going to sell it to a private equity firm for a shit ton of money.
And
24 to 36 months. We've never had one longer than 24 months yet, but I'm sure we will.
awesome. Yeah, that's great. And you basically apply what you've learned the last like from that one
Same
SEO basically.
playbook. We're just constantly just sharpening the skill set. The same playbook over and over again.
Yeah. What do you think about when a private equity, when they start looking at your business, how do they see you? Obviously, you sold several businesses and you're friends with these guys, but what do these guys look for in terms of like, hey, I'm going to buy a good business? What are the things they typically look for when looking at acquiring a new company?
Systems, processes. Do you have a leadership team that thrives without you? How is the company growing or going backwards? They don't want going backward companies. Is it profitable? They want cash flow. What's your online reviews look like? Do you have a great culture? Listen, they look at 500 companies and they might buy one. That just tells you how hard.
1 out of 500. And do you have like an entire like playbook, like hey, here's the 200 things they look for?
And that's why I have relationships with them because they know I am like the miners or an incubator, whatever you want to call it. I give them exactly what they want. I build for the banks. That's what I tell people. I build for the banks.
And then typically that range in terms of EBITDA, like what is the range typically that they look at? I know different private equities look at different.
They're all different. I mean, like people. That's where like you got to watch what you say because people are like, no, my buddy was doing $1 million in EBITDA and he sold it. Yeah, your buddy sold for a few $1 million. That's really not selling. Like it is, but it's not. Your buddy has to get up the next day and go to work somewhere, right? Because you can't live off of $2-3 million the rest of your. I guess you could, someone, but like overall, you're not going to be able to. So, I think where you want to be, the sweet spot is $2 to $5 million. I think that's the sweet spot. You get $2 to $5 million, you get a nice little multiplier, exit out, and you have a 75 mile to 100 mile non-compete. Maybe you stay on with them for 2 years, maybe you don't. And then you move on to the next thing.
Yeah. And you've done 6 already? How many deals have you done yet?
Well, technically, I just sold my 7th. Wasn't a big deal; it was a small deal, but I sold 7.
What's been the most challenging one, or they're all challenging? What's the most challenging?
As soon as you go through due diligence, is the most stressful. So what happens is this: when you go through due diligence, private equity firms don't look the reasons to buy your company; they look the reasons not to buy your company, no matter who you are. Like, 'cause they're so scared to make a mistake. And I don't mean that in a negative way. It's they're managing this fucking fund of money, and the pressure's on them to have a successful outcome. They cannot make a mistake. Like, these guys terminate so fast employees that work for them. They have no tolerance, and nor should they, right? It's a real business. It's not a joke. So it's stressful because once you commit to sell, you want to have a meaningful outcome on both sides. They want to, you do. So it's an intense 120 days, 90 days.
So it's 3 to 4 months. That's typically how long it takes.
Probably 3-4 months. I tell people, yeah. I mean, we've done it. We did the one in like 60 days, a little less. It was probably like a little less, but that was the Apex, and they were the best I've ever seen come in, transition. That company, I think, is going to do $50 million this year.
What makes them the best? Why were the best?
Well, they're seasoned. What happens is this: is like when you join a newer platform, you're going to have more hiccups and bumps because they're newer, right? They got turnover on their leadership team. They're trying to figure things out. When you're a company like Apex is probably going to do $2 billion in HVAC this year, they're battle tested. They've been around. They did probably 70 acquisitions just last year.
Yeah. And what are the if you're a owner, what are the things that you should look for in an acquire? As somebody who's like that, somebody who's battle tested, like what are the kind of the things that you look for?
I think you got to look for where your heart feels right because there's a lot of good people. I would not sell to a search fund. That's someone passing around the old professional hat at church asking people for money. So I would not sell to a search fund. But what I would sell to is a lot of these private equity guys are good guys. But they're businessmen, right? So you got to be willing. Like, do you want to stay on? Like, be honest with them. Like, tell them what you want. Like, so many people are like, yeah, whatever. And they're like, well, you didn't have to say that to me because I would have bought you anyway. We just would have had a plan in place. Make sense? And these guys are giving me a lot of money, and the majority of them are good guys. A majority of them have never been in home services before. You know, they're either military guys, officers, a lot of them. So, you know, they're trying to figure it out too. So I would say if you're going to, what you're looking for people that you want to have a beer with, people that have been around, people that have done it before. If you're going to join a new platform, you better have a lot of confidence in the people that are going to run the platform.
Yeah. What does build it to sell actually mean when making data decisions and not just theory?
I think if you build a company to sell it, whether you sell it or not, you're going to be profitable. You're going to keep scaling. You're going to keep growing and making money. So like the whole build it to sell it message is if you just build a house with the right foundation, it's probably going to last you a lot longer than a house built on a shitty foundation that you got to keep redoing, right? And that's really what build it to sell it's all about. I'm not saying you have to sell your company, but if you build your organization with the mindset, I'm going to sell it, you're probably going to get there that much faster in growth. You're probably going to make sure you do all the foundational stuff correctly, and you're probably going to run it more like a business than your actual cash, you know, your personal ATM.
Yeah. And what are the most common mistakes that you see founders make when they think too long about an exit?
Exactly what you said. They think too long. My thing is this: is build it to sell it, build a stable, great company, make it a valuable asset. Your company is your most valuable asset. It's worth more than your house if it's done correctly.
Yeah, I mean that's and one thing you talked about was during the show is that once you actually sold your first business, you don't have to worry about your family anymore, right? You don't have to worry about your family anymore. That even if at the end of the day everyone dies, you're gonna die one day. You're gonna die. You know that they're gonna be taken care of, right? That's one of the
My
big
kids,
things that.
my kids are golden. I mean, I own a ton of real estate. My farm's paid off. The majority of my real estate's paid off. Like, it's been life changing for me, truthfully. So, I love working now, and I love winning. So I continue to work and win. But yeah, it's a big relief, you know. And like I said to my wife all the time, you know, we sell our farm one day, and what, we got to live in a $2 million house now. Oh my God, life is real bad. Like, I mean, like, you know, it's all relative, man. Like, I'm the most blessed guy in the world.
Yeah, and yeah, that's awesome. That's an amazing thing. I like one day, like being a provider. That's what you're doing. You're being a provider for your family, and hopefully that's gonna last for generations, right? It's gonna last for generations. That you're gonna have your family taken care of, your grandkids, right? When you have grandkids, right?
That's your only job as a father, as a man, is to provide for your wife and kids. Like, that's it. Like, I hear these guys fighting with their mother or their children because they're divorced, and I'm like, your only job is to take care of your mother, of your children, and your children. Like that is from the beginning of time. Men have died to protect the mother, their children, and their children. Like, that's just that simple. But the world has changed. Oh, she cheated on me. She left me. She made my life hell. Okay, but she's still the mother of your children. She's still the mother of your children. You got to take care of her. Your job is to be a provider as a man. And I just truly believe that. And I hope when I die, my wife and my children said my dad tried to provide the best he could for us in every way.
Yeah, I think a lot of the younger generation doesn't like that for whatever reason. They I don't know why. It's just a different thing.
They're
Different.
selfish. The younger generation is selfish. I see it with the people around my children. You know, I asked a guy why he did something, and he was like, "Oh, I was just trying to make extra money." I'm like, "Well, it wasn't what's best for them." And he's like, "Yeah, but I just wanted to make extra money." And I'm like, "It doesn't work that way. Everyone has to win."
Yeah. What would you do in a situation where, because most of the time you come with somebody that's already established, but how about with somebody's not established, somebody's a startup?
Listen, I did my startups. Well, I did for my. It's funny because my nephew Connor, he's my godson. I was so proud of him last night. He came over for the Super Bowl, and he's wearing his company shirt, right? And Connor's going to be a multimillionaire. He's going to be successful. He has that. He wants to do it. He wants to be a businessman. And he's my godson, right? And me and his dad were best friends since first grade, set done. But Connor comes in wearing his company shirt to my Super Bowl, and I was so proud. And I thought to myself, like, this guy got one thing from me. He knows to wear his brand everywhere he goes. And that's what startups have to do. You got to be so obsessed that you can't worry about what other people think. You wear your brand to the Super Bowl party. You got to wear your brand everywhere because you never know who you're going to meet, where, and when. And that's the biggest thing. And I think a lot of people don't live their life that way as a startup, and that's why most startups fail. Because you got to sacrifice everything. You got to sacrifice your holidays, time with your kids. I mean, my first 5 years of LJ's life, I sacrificed seeing them, right? And, you know, do I regret it? Yeah, sure. You know, I'd be lying to say it doesn't haunt me some nights. But I also know my son wouldn't be living the life that he's living now if I didn't do it. I'm also fortunate I married probably the best woman you could ever marry, right? She dealt with the shit, and a lot of women wouldn't have, you know. They probably would have did a money grab on me and just try to take me for my money. I don't know, you know, I think when you're in a startup situation, you better have a great wife, and you better know you're going to sacrifice a lot, and you got to be obsessed. I just believe in being obsessed and showing up and just keep working, and just energy makes energy. You're going to wind up being successful no matter what, and then you get more strategic as you get around the right people.
Yeah, and in terms of like, because you're obsessed, right? That's obsession, which is a great thing. What is it? What do you do? Like, if I'm a Orlando company, you know, I'm starting a plumbing company. What were the first thing you would do? Like, hey, I'm a startup. How would you start that? What advice would you give that startup in Orlando?
If I was a startup, I'd go right to ChatGPT. I'd make my logo, name my company. I would order polo shirts, hats. I'd get my truck wrapped, get yard signs. Depending on how much money I had or didn't have, I started posting on social media every day. It's free. I'm your plumbing man. I'm the plumbing guy. What needs do you have? Then all of a sudden, your friends see you doing that. Some might hire you, some might not, right? It's okay. then you're going to see people start taking shots at you. I can't. You know how many people said to me, Lance Bachmann, like, hey, Lance, hey, I can't get you off my feet. I had to snooze you. Well, guess what? I'd rather have you snooze me than me not be there at all, right? Like, I don't care. Like, I don't take offense to that when someone says that to me. Or someone like, oh, my God, I see on my social media all the time. I'm like, okay. They're like, oh, what do you do? Just post yourself? Do you love being in front of the camera? Yeah, okay. You know, I said this to a good friend of mine. She's a lawyer. I've been telling her for years. And she's a beautiful woman. She's my age. She's probably about 46, 47. I'm good friends with her husband. But she's a beautiful older woman that's going to be 50, right? Like, and I've been telling her for years, you got to be on social media. You got to separate yourself from your husband. You got to really, because the husband's a very good-looking guy. He's a lawyer up in Newtown, PI lawyer, very good-looking guy. So, but his firm's been around for years. He's successful. I'm like, but her name's Kat. I'm like, Kat, you should be all over social media on your own. She's got back from a trip. And another girl was telling her, why are you not doing your own? Everything I've told her for years to do, this girl's telling her to do, right? Like, do your own social media, be all over it. Because, listen, you know, there's no lack of white males on social media. But there is a lack of females that are attractive, that are experts in what they do. For whatever reason, and I don't know why. And I'm not saying they're not out there, but there's some. But there needs to be more and more and more of them because there's a lot of women that are experts, and she's one of them. So, and she said, well, you know, I can tell you. I said, Kat, look at my life. Look at everything I built. Is pretty much, did I have to do the work? Did I have to be strategic? Did I have to do all these things? Yes. Did I have to take the risk and chances? But 99% of my leads come from social media. You know, I walk through places and people stop me. Are you the Instagram guy? Are you the LinkedIn guy? You know, we're just at Capitol Grill and some guy walked up, hey, I follow you on LinkedIn, man. I love your work. Like, so like, that's what you want. You want your brand as a startup, everyone to know you. And that's just, I'm just a true believer in that.
Let's talk about that. In terms of content marketing, how much content do you, I see you posting a lot. Like, how do you do that? Like, how much content do you post?
We post 4 times. I mean, Neary, come say hi. We're in my studio right now. Neary's here. Jacob's outside right now. But this is Neary right here. And we post 4 or 5 times a day. They know the assignment on every single platform. And we don't look at anything except for our follower growth and we look at views, not even the engagement. We don't care about the comments because you want to see the circus, go, and you want to see the clowns, go read the comment section. So we don't even look at the comments. We look at engagement. Is our engagement growing? Is our audience growing? Yeah, I just passed 100,000 people on Instagram. My average Instagram views are about 10 million a week. I'm up 30,000 followers in 2 years. Just by posting content.
Yeah, and it's something I didn't do for a long time. I made that mistake, and I saw a lot of my competitors actually pass me because I was just relying on paid ads instead of actually posting content like I should have. And I really just started last year, so I'm really glad to that. Lance, I really appreciate it. Where do people find you, Lance?
You can just literally text my cell phone, 215-796-4393. Is my personal cell phone, or just Google Lance Bachmann. I'm all over the place.
Another thing that if he will text you back, I actually did text him once a while ago last year, and he did text me back, and he was kind enough to jump on a call without even knowing who I was. So I really appreciate that, Lance. That was really fantastic, and yeah, I want to thank you and really commend you for the event and for the work you're doing. I really appreciate it. Thanks, man.
All right, if you need anything, let me know. I appreciate you having me. I look forward to seeing it.
All right, okay.
Thanks for listening to AI and Marketing for Home Service Pros. If you got value from today's episode, do us a favor. Follow the show, share it with a contractor friend, and leave a quick review. Want help using AI or smarter marketing to grow your business? Head to contractormarketingpros.net and book your free strategy call.